Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, early hours of the morning, whenever you're watching this. So welcome back to another video. So I thought, I've got a lot of people asking about Toolbox Tour. That will be coming this week. Just having time to do it, so I'm probably going to do that and hopefully put that out for Friday/Saturday. So that will be done this week. But back to today's work. Today we're doing 2017 Mercedes Actros. So I've just got inspection on this and any defects. Obviously we've done inspection and stuff for all on DAF, so I'm going to do the Mercedes one, but I'm going to go through the common faults that we've had defect wise, breaking down, anything that we normally find on service, and any general problems and common faults we have with these. To be fair, they're actually pretty good trucks. We don't have major issues, more sensors and stuff, but we'll go through that. We'll go inside, work around, we'll go inside the cab, we'll start there, see if we have any common faults there, and we'll work around and go through what we have and what we do find wrong with these vehicles. So I hope you enjoy the video, and I'll see you in a bit. Inside the cab wise, we don't normally have many issues in here. If you don't know, steering wheel adjusters here, we never have any problems with them. It moves as it should. So we'll check all that. We'll check your washers, make sure they're all working. All speeds, 2, 1, intermittent, and then off obviously. Horn, all good. Never really had anything wrong with the switches. The only thing I don't like about these Mercedes is, compared to the DAF, is on the level for the air suspension, it's not like this is either you're up or you're down, and there's no like in between that. There's no, like one of the DAF ones you can pull up and you can just lift it up a little bit and stop it or whatever. I mean, you can do that with this, but I think you've got more control with that. But yeah, we'll check that all works. And then obviously back down. So yeah, inside the cab never really have a lot of issues really. Nice driving positions. If you're not sure, all the seat adjusters are down here on the side for all your back supports and everything like that. The only thing I will say is to be mindful of, don't leave the key like half. We've done it before. Someone's accidentally left the key in, and like half an ignition, and then the key gets red hot. It's surprising how hot it gets. So that's something to be wary of. We have had to put batteries in them. That's like any key though, but not really many problems with these, to be fair. Inside, it's normally pretty good. Even switches and stuff, we've never had any problems with. So inside the cab, pretty solid on these. You can check all your oil level and that on the dash. Everything's all pretty simple. The only thing we have had, I don't know whether everyone else has, a tacho screens crack. We've had quite a few of them on trucks. I think it's just where people are putting paper in and then just shoving it in and sort of pushing a little bit too hard. But inside the cab, we'll just check everything, make sure everything all works. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to finish in here, and then I will go around outside and we'll start working around the vehicle. So inspection wise, we've done inside the cab, took all the indicators off the front wheel, tapped all the wheel nuts, checked the pad linings. You can put your hand down behind and make sure the caliper's loose. Not loose as in it's got play in it, it's not seized. Do remember on these, when you take the handbrake off, it will make a noise unless you can climb up and take it off. If you go through the passenger side, take it off and get out quick, that will stop it from going off. So I've done the front wheel, we've tapped down the side of the catwalk wheels, all the fifth wheel bolts, check the handle, check the springs underneath, all the way around here, the usual. So we'll do a battery check. We have had going on there. We have had a lot of batteries replaced. A lot of them dodgy batteries. We've done quite a lot of them. There's another issue with it is we've had on the back of the block there's an earth, like a little plate. We've had them where they sort of arc and then they have problems with that. You have to sort of strip them and clean them. It's not a little bad, it's not a bad job, but we have a lot of problems with them. But batteries, we've replaced a hell of a lot of batteries, and they're bloody heavy as well, really heavy batteries. So let's do a battery test. I'll go through the process how we'll do a battery test, and then we'll get it cleaned up, and then we'll work our way back round. So this is what we use. It's called a Midtronics. So you can either do a systems check, which will check like alternator power, make sure everything's charging away and all that sort of stuff, but we're just going to do a battery test. So I'll put my initials in there. In service, because it's in vehicle. In vehicle. I'll quickly put the reg in. So you have the options of car, vans, bus and truck. We're going to go truck. There's 2 batteries on it. Regular, they're EN rated. So batteries are 150s, it's already in there, someone's already done it. Temperature, and then it will just test it. Hopefully you can see this okay. So we'll connect to battery 2. Just like that, connect to battery 2. Oh, it's a bit long-winded, but it's the best way to show you. So they're both good batteries, as you can see there. What we'll do is as well, we'll just we'll clean up the batteries, clean up all the points and everything, and then we'll just put a bit of like white grease on it, protect them, and put the covers back on, put the battery cover back on, and then that's that check for there. So wire at the back here as well. We'll check all down the side, check all the wiring, check the tanks and everything, and then we'll work our way back round. So I'm not going to show you that bit because it's the same as what we do that side anyway. It's nothing really interesting unless I find something, and we'll work around the front and then we'll get it up in the air. Also, when you do a battery test, you get a printout as well. It tells you the state and health of batteries and all what you've just done. So let's get working around. So here we're checking the outside of the tyres, wheel nuts, half shafts. I'll take the indicators off after I've finished doing these little bits and re-tap the wheel nuts. At the front we're checking the wiper linkage, all the levels, all wiring and everything, make sure everything's all secure and where it should be. That's pretty much the top done. I'm not going to record everything, but always take the wheel nut indicators off, check all the wheel nuts, everything. That was just a quick scoop round on to show you sort of like the routine and everything. So all I'm going to do is grease the sliders on the 5th wheel, clean the 5th wheel up. I'm not going to re-grease that yet because it's got to have a test trailer on for the weight for a brake test, which I'll show you more later. Front wise, not really any common problems really. There is a coolant pipe which you can see through the bonnet, grill, whatever you want to call it. They're quite common. They go from the header tank, I think they go to the EGR. It's a long pipe, about that long. They have a lot. We have done quite a few of them where they split and leak. But other than that, top wise, not really massive to look out for. Obviously the steps lubricate the pins, and the pull cable, they sometimes get stuck, so it's worth checking then. But other than that, on the top side, they're pretty solid to be fair. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to grease the 5th wheel, the legs, and I'm going to do all the hinges and everything, and then I'm going to get it up in the air. So I'm going to get on with that, and then I'll come back to you in a bit. So here we're greasing all the 5th wheel runners, the ladder, any hinges, all just general maintenance stuff to make sure everything's all lubricated and moving. And up we go in the air. I'm going to be tapping underneath as we do. One thing I've been told about these is when you jack them up, you must jack it up pretty much in line with the springs. Don't ever jack them up from here, because obviously more hollow here, it's more weaker here. So let's see, I'll show you a bit there. Look there. Where it's more hollow. Yeah, just sobering tyre, jack them up there. It's the strongest part. So I'm gonna check tyres now, grease kingpins. Obviously, all front end wise, common problems. Nothing really happened to here. It's normally pretty good. The things to watch out: front side, fan belt and tensioner. Obviously, I've done a video on that. They're quite common. And obviously, the coolant pipe I said to you about earlier. This seems to be missing a tray, but when you do an oil change, they're 10mm. These little plastic horrible things. And there's normally a tray that goes across here, so that seems to be missing. But 10mm for the sump bone. So yeah, let's check the tyres and work our way back. So we're checking the inside of the tread, the sidewalls and the disc, and then we'll grease the bottom and the top kingpin. Also, we'll do a shake and brake, but that'll be done on a pit because you can't do a shake and brake on a set of lifters. So we'll go back to that, and obviously I'm not going to film everything, so that I won't be filming. So what we're going to do now is check the gearbox oil, check all the prop bolts, have a tap round. Check these airbags are quite common, donut bags. Sometimes the cord's split in the middle, so look out for that. Spring bushes, haven't really had a problem. The older ones we used to have quite a bit of problem with. But other than that, it's the usual check round. We have a bit of problems with the air dryers, clogging up with dirt, and literally been blasting oil. So we'll get that cleaned up and we'll check that. But yeah, so I'm going to check the second axle tyres, check these bags, check all the bolts, pipe work and all that. But I'm going to check the gearbox oil first. Gearbox oil, 14mm hex key, and same for the diff as well. So here we're checking the gearbox oil, make sure we're all up to level, which was all good. And then we'll have a general tap round, prop bolts, check all the airbags, and same as you do for any inspection, just a general tap round. Thing to be wary of. On these airbags here, they've got clips at the bottom, and sometimes on the back as well, both got them on back airbags, these airbags here. Just be careful when they get drop down and they scrape, they rip these clips off, and that's an MOT driver. So just check them clips, make sure they're all secure and everything, and they're in a good condition. So this is the last bit, literally just checking the rear tyres and discs, the same as the front. We'll check the other side. We'll also check the rear diff oil as well, and just have a general tap round, make sure the wiring's all secure and everything as well. So as you can see, we've got a loaded trailer on there. So it's the only way we do a brake test. If you try, then it won't work with no weight on the middle axle, it will just do nothing. So that's why we have to put a loaded trailer on it. There's the setup we have. Plenty of fucking weight on there, I tell you. Yeah, I'll show you the brake test result and then we'll end this video. So there's our results. You can see the weight on there. It's a lot of weight, but yeah, we've got good. We always be above there. It's 52 and then 12, 23, which are good figures, all locked out. So yeah, good brake test there. Middle axle, on these you'll never get them to really lock out. I think I've had one in all the time we've been doing them that actually locked out, and it's quite rare. So yeah, there's the brake test done. So yeah, let's get the end of this video. Thanks for coming and watching another video. So obviously this is something that I've done already a lot inspection wise, but this was a little bit shorter, just in a little bit more detail with the Mercedes. Some common faults, so things to look out for are common faults in these. You've got the coolant pipe that goes from the header tank to the top of the EGR. It's like a plastic pipe. They do one that's a better version of that. They're common for leaking. Fan belt and tensioner was common for being noisy. Have that quite a lot. The bracket on the back of the block, it's got all the earth straps and everything on it. Check that. If you sometimes get like battery drain or problems starting, check that as well. We have done a few starter motors, not necessarily so common, but the signal wire on them have had corroded. Quite common. They used to be quite common on DAF as well. So add that. Other common problems. There's loads of different things, but these Mercedes are pretty solid for what we've had. They've been really good. obviously knock sensors and, you know, the usual exhaust system faults we have quite a bit of. So, but that's like any vehicle now, it happens a lot. So when you're doing one of these brake tests, you have to have a load of weight on it to get it to pass. But other than that, you know, there's some common things to check out for. You've also diff and gearbox bungs are 14mm hex keys. The cab jacking, I didn't film the cab jacking because there's just no point. That is on the passenger side, and it's if I believe a 30mm socket, and get an extension and jack it over that way if you're never unsure. The other thing to look out for on these when you're doing a headlight bulb is the Torx bolts that hold the headlamp in can be a pain, and if you get some melt that's done it with an inch gun or something stupid like that, like, it can snap and it can be a pain. So they're things to take into account as well. They can be pretty awkward. Why they didn't with the DAF put a panel where you could get the bulb, but I don't know, maybe so they can get people and charge people to do it. So other than that, they're not a bad truck at all. We haven't really had a great deal of issues with them, to be honest with you. I know one, I don't know if it's the older one or these ones, they do have on the there's an EGR part that runs across the front, apparently, where the holes are sort of cut on a diagonal, and apparently they block up as well. So we haven't had that person here. It's just what I've heard that we've had problems with. But other than that, like, they're pretty solid trucks. They, you know, they do what they need to do, and they do a good job of it from the sounds of it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Obviously, it's similar to what I've done before, but obviously a different vehicle and some more common things. If you like this sort of video, I'll try and do, like, I'll go through the DAFs, and then we'll walk around and go through what the common problems are, what we've had. I'm not saying these faults are common, but these are what we deal with and we have problems with. So it's nice to relay that information to you, something for you to look out for. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you could think about like, commenting and subscribing, we're gonna hit that 2K soon. Like, we're getting there. People are subscribing, and obviously you're all enjoying the videos, which is great. So if you haven't subscribed, you can think about subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. This week, like I mentioned earlier, I am going to be doing the toolbox tour. That will be coming this week, so that's something for you. If you hit that notification bell, you'll know when that video arrives. So enjoy your rest of your week. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.